just got done cornering a fighter for UFC. I know we've got the UFC fights coming up here in Atlanta. I'd love to ask you a couple of questions about your experience, if that's okay?
Sure.
So, describe the progression of the night. How early do you guys show up? What's the warm-up process like? Were you nervous? Was he nervous? What were your experiences there?
To be honest, I think I was more honest than Mike. Mike Graves is the fighter that we're talking about in the welterweight division. The progression of the night, the bus ride over there was very quiet with the rest of the fighters on the card. They were all in the zone. First, we go to our individual locker rooms, and we've got our Reebok gear laid out, pants, shirt, all that. Then I meet his other corner man from ATT, Coconut Creek, Dean Thomas, who's a longtime UFC veteran. Mark Delagrati comes in and actually puts the mic on me, and that's when things kind of start to get real. And it was, we watched like the earlier fights, and then we walk out there with Mike and walk through that tunnel. It was just really surreal, and when the fight finally ended and Mike got his hand raised, it's an experience I'll never forget.
Nice, that's great. So describe to me, when do you pump him up? When do you pump him down? Is it hard to know when to balance those two or when to do each one?
Yes, sometimes for my first time, but luckily I've known Mike on a personal level for a long time. I've known him since he was 19 years old and first came into the gym to kind of get out of trouble. And so I know his ins and outs pretty well. And Mike is a guy who really you just got to keep him laughing, keep him relaxed, and set him up to let him do his thing. Just keep him comfortable. He's not one of those guys you really have to psych up. He does that. So yeah.
That's great. So describe the energy in the building that night. You've been to lots of fights here in Atlanta locally. So how does it compare? What are the differences or the similarities?
There really is no comparison. It's completely different. All the TV production behind stage. You're seeing in between fights, Mike Goldberg and Joe Rogan take bathroom breaks, and of course all the other fighters there. All the behind the scenes production, the camera, the lights, the huge venue, the tons of other pro sporting events and concerts taking place at. There's always still that almost tangible fight atmosphere at any fight, local or TV productive, but it's just on a whole nother level.
Okay, nice. What suggestions did you make ringside? What were you shouting to him, and did he listen to them or not?
He did, and once again, like we talked about earlier, that was just a matter of keeping him calm. He got a little wild and kind of veered off a little bit of our original plan as far as setting up the takedown. He got a little haymakerish with his punches and go for a takedown at one point. So in between rounds, it was just relax, set up your shot. When we get him to the ground, he's done. We already saw him gassing out at the end of the first. So once we got Mike on top and adding more pressure, he kind of turned belly down, gave us the back, and that was it.
That's great. So I probably already know the answer to this, but what was the most exciting moment of your night?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it was the win.
Sure.
I guess the win and the upheaval, the celebration with his family too. Getting to see the look on his dad's face when we walked back into the crowd. Because those are the people as a fighter that you want to make prouder than anybody else, is your own family.
Definitely, I get that. So what was the most impressive part of the UFC machine as a whole?
I think how we were taken care of. We were at a beach resort, which was like 30 miles from the venue where we actually fought. So the whole week that was paid and taken care of. I think we got like $300 cash per diem each just for like walking around money while we were staying at the paid-for resort. And we had like a lot of food vouchers and stuff like that. So there really was like nothing besides just frivolous spending and entertainment to use that money for. For me, you know, it was kind of a little bit of padding for missing work to go out there and do that. So yeah, how they took care of us as fighters. Once again, that's just another part of the production that doesn't compare to local level, not because the local guys don't want to take care of us, but because there's just not the funds to do that.
Right, exactly. So what were your biggest takeaways from the experience?
Biggest takeaways was, of course, that whole experience and Mike's win, but meeting everybody there.
Okay.
And not just the fighters, but the other coaches. As a coach and you know, a student of the different arts, jiu-jitsu, stand-up, wrestling, I was just as happy to meet the other famous coaches. Chuck Liddell's coach, John Happington, Rafael Cordero from King's MMA and the old Shootbox Academy. That was just as cool to me. So just meeting the people, that's what makes the sport, is the people, the fighters and the people behind them. A lot of people don't realize that. It's one guy getting in there, but this is a team sport.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks so much, Luke. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Looking forward to catching up after the next UFC in Atlanta. Coming right up next weekend.